right now, we've actually got some breaking news on, let's call it, two big M's. That is Microsoft, and that is money. Steve Kovac on set with some breaking details on that and AI spending.
Yeah, this just came out from Microsoft about 2 minutes ago. Microsoft says it plans to spend about $80 billion in its fiscal year, which ends this June, to build out artificial intelligence. This announcement was actually tucked into a blog post from Microsoft President Brad Smith, who published it today coinciding with the start of the new Congress. He lays out some ideas in that blog post for the U.S. to lead in artificial intelligence. But back to the spending. This was not a surprise. Microsoft previously said to expect more than $20 billion in quarterly CapEx spending on artificial intelligence for the rest of the fiscal year. This is, though, the first time Microsoft is sharing a hard number on how much it plans to spend. To put these numbers in perspective here, Google says it spent $49 billion, Amazon spent $65 billion, and Meta has spent $31 billion in the 4 trailing quarters that we have data for. We'll get the December quarter numbers for all of those companies when they report earnings here in a few weeks. By the way, that $80 billion number is larger than Microsoft's biggest acquisition ever when it bought the video game company Activision for $69 billion. Also says over half of this CapEx is going to be spent here in the United States. Microsoft has previously said about half of the CapEx goes to compute. That means Nvidia chips, so consider a lot of this money going straight to Nvidia, to also some stuff like training for AI, server racks, other equipment. The rest is just the land, the power, construction costs, things like that. Despite all this spending, AI is still not a big business for Microsoft. The company says it's on track to generate $10 billion in AI-related sales this year. So if you're keeping score, that means you have Microsoft planning to spend $80 billion to generate $10 billion in AI sales. Still unclear how well products like Copilot are selling, and Microsoft has never disclosed sales figures for that, nor does it tell us much of how much AI spending is happening on its Azure cloud. It only says how much AI contributes to the growth of Azure. No whole numbers there yet. As we learned last year, investors have some real concern over when all this spending on AI CapEx is going to pay off. That's not just Microsoft. Those are the other big tech companies as well. CEO Satya Nadella and CFO Amy Hood have said they can dial back the spending if demand for AI slips, but for now, they just can't meet all the demand, and the spending keeps going up.
There's a backstory here, which is, correct me if I'm wrong, Microsoft was the biggest acquirer of a lot of these Nvidia chips.
Exactly.
Maybe twice.
That's what we think. We don't know for sure, but that Financial Times reported
that.
Yes.
And the stock has underperformed somewhat. Some of the other, big
Microsoft has, yes.
So do investors want them to be spending more at this point, or do they not? That's why I find the stock move or lack thereof kind of interesting.
Yeah, that's
a big number.
This is a huge number. Again, not unexpected. They kind of signaled this is where they're going, but now they're actually putting a hard number in here. And they've said the demand is there. They literally just don't have the capacity. OpenAI, the hottest AI startup, maybe the hottest startup period on the planet right now, relies on all this infrastructure Microsoft is building. So a lot of it is OpenAI. And by the way, Microsoft is taking on losses from OpenAI. It's going to start reporting those as well.
Do we know how they're going to make the money back? What they're going to have to charge somebody for something.
Well, Copilot.
And Copilot is part of it. These Azure cloud services are another part of it. But again, we just don't have a clear view on where they're spending. Microsoft has given some anecdotal, this company bought this many seats, this company bought that many seats, but it's really vague and nebulous. It's really hard to tell how well that's spending. They also made a big buzzy hire, Mustafa Suleyman, who is now the head of artificial intelligence. He has a CEO title at Microsoft. His job is to get MSN and some of these Bing and some of these legacy products juiced up and selling more with AI, and also creating that consumer version of Copilot. But again, he depends so much on OpenAI, all those large language models that they make, that eventually makes its way into Microsoft. So that's the real challenge here. It's they're almost like the product development shop. But look, it's going to be a long time. I will point out, Satya Nadella got criticized for this early in his tenure as CEO, spending so much to build out their cloud infrastructure for what is a huge business today.
True.
That bet paid off, and that's what he's betting on will happen this time.
Makes it clear they're doubling down on this direction.
100%.
Let me guess, though. Get everybody addicted when it's free.
Yeah, of course. Like
and
Uber.
Or cheap.
And then it's $100 and you can never get one. Yeah. Little
you got something you want to tell us?
That still.
Thanks.
Steve Kovac.